Now, today's topic is going to be about the 2020 to 2023 Explorer. The one where they were doing the recall that had the rear bolt fracture that goes through the subframe of the vehicle. And one of the things that I noticed about the 2020 to 2022 Explorer specifically is the fact that whenever you would go to put this thing in drive, it would almost lunge. And it would sometimes, pay attention to the vehicle, you're probably not catching it. But compared to a normal vehicle where you shift it into drive and it just nice and easily goes in, the 2020 Explorer had this lunging effect, or this like little bit of a lurch to it, where it would just be like, whoa, like it would be ready to go. And going from park to drive and not being completely out of gear while this thing is trying to pull forward, or when you go to take off, you have a really snappy takeoff to it. I don't think they were prepared for that. And the lag time in between letting go of the brake and hitting the gas and wanting to take off, it's pretty aggressive in the Explorer. The Explorers do very, very well with their four-wheel drive like takeoff effect, and how it lunges really, really quick. So they had a rear bolt fracture recall where you would program the computer, and when you programmed the computer, whenever you put the vehicle in park, it would automatically set the parking brake. So the next time you got in the vehicle, took it out of park and went into drive, it would go into drive, but then it would release the parking brake so you could take off. So that lunge effect really wasn't there anymore. Or the parking brake would take the bulk of the effect of that little bit of a lunge. This is my theory on this, and this is what I experienced. Now we have an incident where the media is starting to pick up, and they're talking. Let me show you real quick. In this incident here on Fox 32, Ford recall prompts federal investigation. Owners say vehicles behave erratically after fix. In one of those cases, the Explorer would reportedly slam to a complete stop at speeds of 30 to 40 miles per hour. And in the other, it would repeatedly lurch into motion while the driver was attempting to disengage the parking brake. No injuries were reported in these cases, although the first driver reported striking a utility pole when the Explorer started rolling downhill following an abrupt stop, seemingly because the drivetrain was disengaged. The original recall covered certain 2020 through 2022 Explorers with the 2.3-liter engine, as well as the 3-liter and 3.3-liter hybrids, and the 3-liter ST. Also included were 2020 and 2021 police hybrids and those 3.3-liter gas engines. Both incidents reported involved 2021 Explorers. So this was an issue that was kind of scary, whenever we were going through, we'd either do the reprogram, you'd put the vehicle in park, it would automatically set the parking brake, but we never dealt with any of this erratic stuff. This is like slim to none when these things actually happen, but it's dangerous, the fact that it is possibly happening to certain people out there. But there was something that you were supposed to put in the glove box, or some people would leave it on the seat, and then the owner would read it, and then it would go in the glove box, but it was a glove box notifying the customer of the recall that I almost guarantee you none of the dealers were putting in the glove box or were putting in the owner's manual. I bet you none of the technicians were doing it, because it's just simply something we didn't typically. It was like, I thought about this the other day, and I was like, I wonder, I know there's got to be a handout that wasn't passed out to, I did it. I put the handout, I would leave it in the seat. I wouldn't put it in the owner's manual. I would leave the handout in the seat, and I reached out to my buddy that still has access to Ford PTS stuff, and I said, hey, can you give me that handout again so I can put it up on the internet for people and give them the warning? As part of the 22S27, your vehicle has received a powertrain control module update that affects the parking brake function. Your vehicle will apply the parking brake when the vehicle is shifted into park. This will occur when the vehicle is commanded shift park by the customer. The driver's seatbelt is unbuckled and the left door is opened, or the ignition is turned off. You notice the parking brake lamp turns on each time park is selected. And then it gives you some descriptions here on how to release the parking brake. Driver door is closed, vehicle is shifted into reverse or drive, accelerator pedal is pressed. It will not release the parking brake until you push the gas pedal. Sometimes there's another lurch effect that happens there as well. It's like a hill stop descent feature is turned on. Alternatively, the electronic parking brake can be manually released by the driver using the parking brake switch once the following criteria is met. Ignition switch is on, the brake pedal is depressed. Always make sure the electronic parking brake is applied, that you have shifted the vehicle into park before exiting the vehicle. Failure to follow these instructions could result in personal injury or death. And although this is not something that would immediately affect somebody's safety, most people are putting their seatbelt on, they're pressing the brake, they're shifting into reverse or drive anyway. That little portion in there would explain a lot of the questions I was getting on the channel when people were like, well, what's this lurching effect that I'm feeling after this program has been done? Before it used to snap into gear, and now there's like this lurch where I gotta press the gas just a little bit more than just touching it, and then it'll release, but I've already got tension on the brakes at that point, and then it releases and I get this push forward, so they're not expecting that. Sometimes it's abrupt, and you know, it's kind of a like when you would go on a hill, and some of these vehicles have it's either descent or climb or hill climb function or whatever, little button you could push on the side of your shifter where it temporarily holds the brakes until you press the gas. Basically all they're doing is a feature like that, but they've added some safety into where every time it goes from reverse or drive to park, or reverse or drive to park, it automatically shifts it into park, and then anytime the door's open while the vehicle is moving, it tries to shift it into park. There are ways that you can trick it. I've done it before, but I'm not going to tell you guys how to do that when pulling in and out of vehicles and stalls, and you're trying to figure out exactly where you got to be in between the posts. As a technician, I have to do it sometimes so I can kind of figure out where I'm at, but I'm not going to share that with you guys. Anyway, you know, I just figured I'd cover this topic real quick since it's popping back up and it seems to be gaining media attention. Obviously something ain't right here, and obviously they're talking about it because there's been some wild things that have happened. So it's just a matter of time before more of these issues arise on these new vehicles with all these new electronics, trying to make more power out of these smaller engines. And the Explorer is pretty peppy, but it is, you got to understand that with new vehicles like this, these types of ridiculous things are going to happen. It used to be unbelievable before, and now it's believable that these types of things happen, which is sad. Anyway, y'all be blessed. Have a great day. I just wanted to cover this real quick on my way to work. Thank you.